Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And Steve, this is what we are on what class? I know we're on class 3. And how many more great classes do we have to go?
One more next week.
One more, the grand finale next week. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us here at the Florida Association of Mortgage Professionals as we continue to work on our education series for new loan originators. What a wonderful business. So in this, we have a wonderful speaker that's going to be joining us again in this series, a gentleman that I've known for quite some time, very close, well, 15 plus years at least, if not maybe closer to 20. And Steve Richmond is known as the MI guy. He's currently now with a company called Enact, which used to be Genworth Mortgage Insurance. And before that, it was GE Mortgage Insurance. So went from GE Mortgage Insurance to Genworth to now Enact. Great organization, great group. They're followed with a wonderful representative named Kevin Cato that we learned today goes by KC. So that's great news. What I do want to share with all of you that Steve Richmond is a national speaker. He's talked to several thousands of loan originators throughout the country and thousands of real estate agents as well. He's also been known to be a national trainer to train many organizations like the one that I work for and many banking institutions as well. So we're very excited to have someone with a tremendous amount of experience out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to introduce Mr. Steve Richmond in our education series here at the Florida Association of Mortgage Professionals. And Kevin, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk a little bit about Enact and what you folks do.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. We appreciate you all taking the time to join us again. We're very excited to have Steve for this whole series. Just want to say a little bit about Enact. So I cover the whole state of Florida with my account managers, Dawn Henshaw and Karen Manning. We are excited to work with everyone. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. I will put my contact information in the chat box, so you can always email me or give me a call. And we are excited to have Steve. Take it away, Steve.
Thanks, Kevin. I'm not almost jealous of Kevin. I'm totally jealous of Kevin today. Did you hear that voice? If I had that nice, smooth, buttery, deep voice, man, I'd be on the stage right now. Instead, you're getting this like nasally Northeast guy drive you absolutely crazy. So, Kevin,
that is a great voice. You're absolutely right.
Thank you.
I was about to pull out a guitar and play like a really nice country song. You know,
he's like, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's get into all this. And but hopefully you're laughing too. Why do I do that sort of at the beginning? I want you to know I'm pretty casual, comfortable, laid back. Got a question, ask a question. This isn't like hey, this is a very formal presentation and we'll wait till the end and we'll do a Q&A. Just unmute yourself and say, hey, Steve, cut back for a second. You're talking too fast. You're talking too slow. How would you do this? How would you do that? Happy to answer it. We are recording this. I believe that was already said. So that will be hosted and you're all going to get a copy of the presentation. So that will be emailed out to you. We've gone through 4 chapters of what's called the new Loan Officer ebook already. Now we're looking at chapters 5 and 6 today. These are a little bit less mortgagey, if you will, and a little bit more salesy and marketing-y. I'm making up those words, obviously, as we go along, but if you're sitting here saying, hey, where are we going today? We've already gone with acronyms and what ATR and what coffee means and all this kind of stuff. And today we're really going to start to look at, okay, now that I have all this knowledge, what do I do with it? How do I find these people? How do I start to get some business in the door? So as we think about what do we want to accomplish, we want to start to set some goals. And a lot of people, you may have heard this acronym called SMART goals. And I'm not a big fan of using other people's acronyms and business cliches. But I got to tell you, this SMART goal thing, it makes a lot of sense. So let's break it down. And the first thing of a SMART goal, it's an SMART, is your goal has to be specific. So let me tell you how I learned why specific is important. When I was a little boy, my brother, Michael, who I've talked about before, was a very good tennis player. And when he was a very good tennis player, somebody came up to him. Guy's name was Lenny Sherman. I'll actually tell you what his name was. And he was a tennis coach. And he said to my brother, I would like to make you a professional tennis player. I'd like to become your coach, and I think you can become a professional tennis player. And my brother at that time said, I'm not going to be a professional tennis player. I'm going to be a doctor. Very specific what his goal was. Me, I was not very good at tennis, so Lenny never talked to me. But when other people, adults, would ask me, so what do you want to be when you grow up? I would say, happy. That's not really specific. How do you know when that happens? How do you know how to accomplish that? So when we say, what are we going to do? Don't just say, hey, what is your goal? To make a lot of money. We got to be a little bit more specific than that, because without specificity, it doesn't drive us as much, because we can sort of bend. If you have fuzzy specificity, if you have a fuzzy goal, you can sort of pretend that you made it. So let's get really specific. And the way we get specific is if we really measure it. I'm going to do a lot of loans. Well, is that a lot of volume? If it's a volume, how much dollar is it going to be? How many dollars is it going to be? Or how many units are you going to move? We need to be able to measure what it is, because once we hit that measurement, then we can find the specificity if we're meeting that. So I watch a lot. I just want to make a lot of money. My daughter's 16. Her definition of a lot of money and your definition of a lot of money is going to be a very different definition. So it helps when we not only get specific, but we can actually put measurable units against it so that we can see if we're accomplishing it. What's the A? Is it achievable? This is still a goal of mine, and this is why I fall short of my goals, is I've always wanted to be able to slam dunk a basketball. Well, check it out. My vertical has gotten less and less every year of my life. So even though if I set that as a goal, now you have to be specific. I want to, and you got to be measurable. I like to slam a basketball on a 10-foot rim. See, if I'm not specific, I just want to be able to slam a basketball. Yeah, I can get to a 6-foot rim and I'll be able to slam that basketball. I achieved it. No, we got to be specific. We got to be measurable, but it still has to be attainable. If you're a new LO, and you're just starting out in this business, I want to be #1 in the country. And really? When? Right? I mean, is that really attainable? Is that achievable? In your first year, you're going to be #1 in the country. So we got to be specific, measurable, attainable. And then the other thing is, and I do watch people fall short on this one a little bit. Why are you doing it? A lot, just to say, well, I just want to get as much money as I can so I can just put it in the bank and I'm never going to use it. We have to make it very rewarding or very relevant. So let's say you have a son or a daughter and you want to send them to private school. So you know that you have to make this amount of money. So you have to do this amount of loans, because it's relevant to my life to be able to want to be able to pay for my child to be able to go to private school. Or maybe you want to buy a house, or maybe you're in Florida, you want to buy a boat. So you say, oh, I need to make this amount of money and this will allow me to buy the boat. So we reward ourselves for accomplishing those goals. That's why when I work with a lot of companies, they say to me, oh, so-and-so Lisa Ray, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it, Lisa Ria or Lisa Ray, I'm not exactly sure of the last name there, but she had a really great year, so we're going to give her a bonus. Well, she's going, that's really nice. I will take the bonus, but that didn't motivate me because that came after I already accomplished the thing. If you had told me beforehand, if you hit this amount of volume, Lisa, then you will get a bonus. Well, then she can see the reward and the benefit for herself. And that helps us set those goals when we find them to be rewarding and relevant. So that's what we're talking about. That was right. It's Lisa Ray. All right, we're there, Lisa Ray. Love it, love it, love it. And yes, you're going to get a bonus. I'm not sure who's going to give it to you, but we'll figure that out. So we have SMAR, and I already said this one. It has to be done in a timely manner. And why is that not putting the T up there? Hold on. There. Oh. Did the T come up? Where is it? This little thing, my screen sharing thing just went crazy. Oh, there it is. Yes, time bound. So what happens is, yeah, it has to be time bound, because when are you going to get it done? I want to be the #1 loan officer in the country. Well, when's that going to happen? Well, I don't know. So I'm hoping for a zombie apocalypse so that they take out everybody else. And if I'm the last one standing, I know I'm going to be number one. So, hey, I'm going to do that before the zombie apocalypse comes, right? What is your timetable on this? Because without a timetable, you don't get anything done. And I'm a big believer in this. I treat every day like it's January 2nd. That's my timetable. If you say to yourself, I need to start doing video, start doing video today. It's January 2nd. There's your New Year's Eve resolution. Go make that happen. Your New Year's resolution, make that happen today. If you say, I'm going to start living a more healthy lifestyle, make that happen today. Why are you waiting for these things to happen? So no, it's time relevant. We're going to make it happen today. Let's go. And we're going to capture it over that period of time. SMART. Well, we've been talking about money. So let's talk about money. So when I look at what is it, SMART, how do we make it specific, measurable, achievable? Ask yourself, what do you want to earn? I want to make $75,000 in commission this year. All right. Here's the easiest way to break it down. What is your average loan size? If you recall, in some of the other presentations, we talked about loan size, statistics, demographics, because depending on where you are, if you're in South Beach, Florida, or if you're in a county right in the middle of Florida or something, your home values are going to go for very different numbers. So we got to look at what your average loan size is, because when you're doing one of these mansions down there in South Beach, hey, your loan size isn't going to be $150,000, so it's going to change how much you're making. I also don't know how much you make. So when I look at what the commission rate is, and I try and figure that whole thing out right there, wherever your company is, whatever the rate that you're getting paid with, it's sitting right there. So let's just say your average loan size is 150. Let's just say that you're getting, 70 basis points, or your commission rate is 70 basis points. But don't stop there. Don't count all your chickens before they hatch. How much falls out of your pipeline? How many declines do you get? Let's say it's 10%. See, we're back to that measurable. The more we can measure, the better our goal can be, and the more attainable it will happen for us. So if I look at, okay, I'm to make 75,000, if I make 150,000 is my loan size, and I make 70 basis points, and I'm going to lose 10%, all we need to do is look at simple mathematics. And what do we see? Well, if I make 150,000 at 70 basis points, that's $1,050 commission per closed loan. So if I'm making $1,050 per closed loan, I need to close over 1 year, time-based, 72 loans over that year, so I get my $75,000. But when I look at the withdrawals and the declines, since I see what they are, I realize that I got to make more than 72. I have to get 80. Remember, we said it was 10%. So now I need to do 80 loans, allowing for a 10% drop off. And once I say I need to do 80 loans a year, then I break it down. We're back to time and measurement. That's 20 per quarter. Does that sound like a lot? Well, when you look at 20 per quarter, that's 1.5 loans a week. Very quickly, you're going to see if you are on target to hit your goal, or if you are not on target to hit your goal. It's sitting right there in front of you. So when we look at the SMART goals and we do that, that's the first one, to establish the goal. The next thing I want you to do is write it down. There is an absolute connection between writing something down and making it happen. A friend of mine, it was really interesting. I happened to go over his house the other day, and he's been in sales his whole life. And I looked up, he has a whiteboard on his wall, and on it, it says, make X percent per month, make X phone calls per day. He wrote all of his goals down, knowing that that's what motivated him, so he constantly sees it. When we look and we set our goals and we write them, and we don't write them down and we don't share it with other people, we're lying about what our goals are, because we're keeping them to ourselves. And when you keep your goal to yourself, guess what happens? You become not accountable to others. Nobody can actually check to see if you're making progress towards your goals. And therefore, if you don't make it, you just walk away. No big deal. No harm, no foul. Have a nice day. Catch you later. No biggie. The reason, see, no one on this call needs a trainer to go to the gym. You know what you do when you go to the gym, you go to the machine, you work out on the machine, you get it done, then you lose the weight, then you get healthy, have a nice day. Why do we get these trainers? So that they call us up and they say, hey, why aren't you coming to the, it makes it accountable. Same thing, when we share our goals with other people, with our managers, with our friends, with our spouses, with our roommates, whatever it is, with our parents, with our kids, when we share that goal, it becomes a whole lot more real. And now we strive harder because you know what? You don't want to let down your manager, your friends, your spouse, your roommate, your kids. So what do you end up doing? Boom, sharing the goals with them in written form, then they can hold you accountable to accomplish them. So how do you do that? So I just figured out, okay, I'm going to write them down, but how do I make them happen? This is called the Mitsubishi model. Mitsubishi Motors, you've heard of Mitsubishi cars, they do this every single year. And if you want to create a really good plan, there are going to be 4 elements to any good plan. Element number 1 is a strategy. A strategy is an area of concentration. What area are you going to concentrate in? Hey, I'm going to work with, I'm really going to go after first-time home buyers. Sounds great. What is your goal for first-time home buyers? I'm going to do a lot of them. Okay, a lot. Hold on a second. So we now have a strategy, first-time home buyers. That's an area of concentration. We have our goal. This is what we're going to accomplish. How do we measure it? Well, you can't measure a lot. So now by saying, oh, I need the measurement, my goal needs to be more specific. I'm going to close 100 loans for first-time home buyers over this year. Fantastic. Now I know how to measure it and I can look at it every quarter, every week to see if I am on target to accomplish that goal. And the last one, and this is where most people go first, I actually go here last, is tactics. What are the things you are going to do? What are the actions that you're going to take to accomplish that goal? So if that's not clear to you that what those 4 elements are, let me know. But I'm going to give you a blank page. We're going to send this out to everybody. What's important on this page is please look that it only goes across 5 boxes. Why? Because you can't go wider on this chart. You can definitely go deep. I don't care if you have 1,000 tactics that you're going to do to accomplish this. I do care if you say, I have 27 strategies. Your strategy is your area of concentration. If you have 27 strategies, you are not concentrated, you're diluted. An individual and even a corporation cannot have more than 3 to 5 areas of concentration. Once you go over 5, you start getting lost and you're no longer focused on what the top priority is. So when we lay down what our strategies are, we want to be able to say, okay, no more than 5 of them. These are the areas that I'm going to concentrate. Then you lay out your goals, your measurements, and you can have as many tactics under that strategy that you want. So you might say, I'm going after first-time home buyers. I think I'm going to create my own YouTube channel. That's one of my strategies. I'm going to start building stuff through YouTube, and I'm going to use social media platforms. That's fine. You're good to go. Now, under first-time home buyer, what's your goal? I'm going to close 100 units by the end of this year. How are you going to measure it? I'm not worried about the dollar. I'm going to measure it off of units, and I'm going to measure it on a weekly basis. What are the tactics that I'm going to implement? I'm going to do first-time home buyer seminars. I'm going to do first-time home buyer webinars. I'm going to partner with a real estate agent that I know that likes to work with first-time home buyers. I'm going to visit colleges to be able to do that. I'm going to talk about to banks to see if the banks that don't have mortgage departments, to see when they have people who are opening up new credit cards and new checking accounts that maybe I can do the mortgage for them for the first time home buyer. I'm going to go after apartment buildings and start to put flyers on people's automobiles to be able to show them that they'd be able to afford a house. I don't know what your tactics are, but I can go as deep as I want on tactics and start laying out all of them, but you can't go as wide as you want on strategy. You need to restrict it on somewhere between 3 and 5. So that's what we look at when we see a plan. All right, that's how you create the plan. I hope that that makes sense. Now, the next thing that you're going to say is, okay, I got my plan, I got my goal. How do I get these people? Well, to get the people, I want you to think like a spider. Now, a spider, she makes her web, and not over 90% of all spider webs are made by the female spider, so that's why I say she. But what causes her web to have size, shape, and strength are the anchor points that she attaches her silks to. So she starts at a brick on the house and then goes to the gutter, and the gutter to the tree, the branch on the tree, and the branch to the trunk, and the trunk to the grass, and the grass to a different brick, right? And then that to the rain spout. Boom, 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 boom. And that's how we start to create it. The actual web is all the content that we talked about last week. It's all the stats and figures and data and websites and apps and all the stuff that brings your customer back to want to continue to talk to you, to hang out in your web, in your tribe, to continue to be there. That's all the center of the web. But you have to have the strong anchor points that feed the customers into the web. So we look at friends and family and past customers and real estate agents and social media and builders and all that kind of stuff, right? So you say, wait a minute, builders, how do we get builders into that web? Remember, we talked about remove.bg. Remember, that's where we can take, if we have a builder who does the landscaping last on some of their property, we take a picture of it, we go to remove.bg, so it wipes out the landscaping, so all you're looking at is that house. Don't worry, I'm going to share with you that in just a minute of where you can find that, because we talked about that in the last time, right? But hey, that's how I have a strong relationship with that builder, because I show them this website and then they'll feed their customers into my web. The one I did not talk about is the community or the charity cause. One thing we learned about COVID is people actually do care about one another, and they care about charity, and they care about giving back, and it's important. I'm involved with 2 charities. One's called the Bright Side of the Road Foundation, and the other one is called the Florence Forth Foundation. I'm just going to talk about Florence Forth, but Brightside has just such a cool logo. I wanted to share that one with you also. But the Florence Forth Foundation, you can see it benefits the AE Alliance. That's the autoimmune encephalitis. Folks, if you've never heard of autoimmune encephalitis, be thankful. It is about as bad of a disease as you can get. When I was a kid, which was a lot earlier than when Kevin Cato was a kid, because I'm old, there was a TV show that came on, and I don't know if you all remember this, but it had a guy named John Travolta in it, and he was the boy in the bubble. That's what autoimmune encephalitis can result in. It puts you in a bubble, because what it does is autoimmune, like AIDS, autoimmune deficiency, and encephalitis means the brain. So the brain is not able to cut off infection, bacteria, viruses. It can't fight against it. So if you are, God forbid, ever struck with autoimmune encephalitis, you can't be around other people and viruses and bacteria. So my friend's daughter had to go through this. So I joined up with her on this. And she has a road race every year. It's in March 4th, Florence Forth. So we look at it every year at March, the first weekend in March. And there's 1,500 people that come out and to run for this race, which is our first win. So we're raising money to fight this horrible disease, so that doctors can get this money, so that victims don't have to pay for the medical treatment, so that there's research that can be done to eliminate this horrible disease from the planet. So the first reason of getting involved right there is obvious of saying, okay, it helps us fight this disease. No problem, I'm in. What's the second win? Well, I told you she does a road race. If you look at me right now, you understand I'm not much of an athlete. I wasn't a good tennis player, and I am not a runner at all. But what do I like to do? If you've been on the other presentations, you know that I love talking and I love music. So I DJ and MC her race every year. That's my contribution back. So when I DJ and I MC it, what do? I just grew my spider web by 1,500 people that I've never met before, and I never would have met unless I got involved with this community or charity cause. That's win number 2. I just grew my spider web. But win number 3 is critical. Those now 1,500 people, pardon me, that just got into my spider web, what do they think about me? They all like me. They all respect me. I have credibility. Why? I didn't meet them on a sales call. I met them over a charity event that they see me giving back to the community, that I share a cause in common with them. We have a commonality. So all of a sudden, I've overcome that hurdle of, hey, I'm new. Why would you do business with me? You've already established a better relationship through the community charity cause that you can now leverage to move forward. And the last win, quite honestly, when I DJ this thing, I got to get there at about 5 o'clock in the morning because we got to set everything up and blah, 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 blah. I tell you what, by the time I'm done at 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm exhausted, but I feel great. I promise you, if you do something for someone else, for a community cause, a charity cause, you'll feel better about yourself. So why would you not get involved to be able to help the cause solve the problem, grow your web so you get more customers with people who already like you, know you, and respect you because they met you through a community and charity cause, and you feel better about yourself at the same time? Folks, it's a great tool to be able to help you develop personally and professionally. So get involved. Now, I say, all right, that's one way to do it. But should I be calling on my friends? Of course you should. So what I want you to do is make a list of your friends that you're going to call on. Let's call them John, Paul, Madonna, Cher, Mick, and Aretha. It's a very nice group of friends you have sitting right there. John, Paul, Madonna, Cher, Mick, and Aretha. But if they say, no, thank you, I'm not looking to do a mortgage or to purchase a house or to refi, or if they say yes, we already said past customers and friends and family can always refer us, what? New customers. How do we do that? A lot of you may have on the back of your business card something that says, the greatest compliment I could ever receive is a referral from you. And that is not the greatest thing to put on the back of your business card. Why? Because nobody's ever looked at the back of that business card and said, oh my God, who knew? Hi, here's my entire Rolodex. Contact to all my friends. That would be awesome. The best way to ask anyone for a referral, just a friend or a customer, is to say the following. Do you think you could refer me 2 people in the next 3 months? Why? Because when you say, hey, anytime you ever find somebody, can you just refer them to me? So wait, you're saying I always have to be thinking about you and I always have to have, you know what? You've asked for too much. Hey, do you know 2 people? I'm asking for 2 names. Yeah, 2, I'll give you 2. Hey, smart rules. I'm going to make it time dependent. Can I get that within the next quarter? Yeah, you just said 2 people. I'm going to give you that name in 10 years from now. I don't want to wait that long. Thank you very much. So the way that we do that is we ask them flat out, hey, could you refer me? Do you think you could refer me to 2 people in the next 3 months? Think about the mathematics of this. Let's just say you don't ask that of John, Paul, Madonna, Cher, Mick, and Aretha. You just ask Aretha. You ask one person, can you give me 2 referrals in the next 3 months? Within the next 3 months, she gives you 2 referrals. You then try and work with those 2 referrals. You either close them or you don't close them, but you ask them each, not for everybody that they know, can you give me 2 referrals within the next 3 months? Now you have 4 people you're working with. And when you go 4, now you're at 8, and 8 to 16. Do you realize in less than 3 years, you're going to have over 1,000 1,000 referrals that have came from people who actually know you. It's a great way to do it by saying, all I need to do is ask 2 people in the next 3 months, and that's how we start to grow it. But when we do this very general, hey, if you ever meet anybody who's looking for a house, I'm your guy. That's not where we want to be. We want to be very specific. You got 2 people in the next 3 months. That's how we do it. The next thing we're going to talk about is what? Well, who you're going to call. And I know who you're going to call. You're going to call on a real estate agent. You're not going to call Ghostbusters. But why are you calling on real estate agents? Because 88% of buyers used a real estate agent over the last year. And that means that they're still using real estate agents. So we need to go in front of and talk to the real estate agents. Your question is, what real estate agent should I call on? And you've been asking this type of question in the past. Hi, I'm new to this business. Who do I call on? Let me show you how we do this. Make a list of real estate agents that you might know. Let's call them George, Ringo, Mariah, Adele, Keith, and Whitney. Okay, so we list out all of those real estate agents and we figure out, hey, George, how much business do you do? How many homes do you sell in a year? Ringo, what about you? So now we have all these real estate agents and we know how much volume they do. Then we break it into this 4 blocker. Are they easy to do business with? And do they do a lot of volume? So let's talk about Mariah. Mariah is very difficult to do business with. You see her on the bottom left-hand corner there? She's difficult to do business with and she does no business. I promise you, you're going to meet people in your career that say, hey, can you take me to lunch? Hey, you haven't stopped by. Why aren't you bringing me donuts? Oh my gosh, you do no volume. You're very demanding. We need to strategize how not to work with these people, right? Because we're never going to get anything beneficial from the relationship. Now let's talk about Ringo. Ringo's awesome. Doesn't everybody love Ringo? Ringo's great. So Ringo, but you know what Ringo's problem is? Ringo does no volume. But with everything that I've been learning through this course, if I can figure out with Ringo how to grow his business by doing all the tactics that we've talked about earlier and setting these up with him, and he's easy to work with, wow, I helped the account that I wanted to grow, which means they're going to end up being loyal to me and I can move them over into protected. So when we look at the person who's wonderful to work with but doesn't have a lot of volume, and who is that? That's the new real estate agent. If you can help them grow, they will stick with you because you're the one who was there for them when times were tough. Now, look at Keith. Keith does a lot of business, but he's a pain in the tail, and he knows that he does a lot of business, so he's overly demanding. If we can figure out how to improve communications and how to improve the process to lower the demands and to improve the communication, we're going to work with Keith. So we move Keith by the volume, we start to move him up by trying to figure out, how do I ease the process? How do I improve the communication? Most of you are thinking, I want to go after Adele. No, you don't. See, Adeles are grown. Adeles come from Keiths and Ringos. You got what I'm saying? Somebody improved that person to make them an Adele. Somebody grew that person to make them an Adele, which means they are already working with somebody else, and that person is working very hard to protect them to keep you out. So it's a much higher hanging fruit, especially for a new originator to go after an Adele. Where the low-hanging fruit is the Ringos and the Keiths, because you then move them into that protected status. See how that works? So when we take it and we go back to it, you say, okay, George, how much business did you do? Where are you on the pigs? Are you a protect, improve, grow, or strategize? Protect, improve, grow, strategize. And now these are the tactics or the game plan that I'm going to implement to be able to get your business, George. Ringo, oh, I see you. I have to, well, Ringo wasn't the, Mariah was the strategize, right? My game plan, hey, Mariah, I'm not taking you out to lunch anymore, but feel free to call me anytime you have someone you'd like me to work with. See, that's my tactic for her. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on her because she doesn't do any volume anyway. She's a part-timer and all she does is make demands. So we go for number to pigs, protect, improve, grow, strategize. So what are our tactics? What are our game plan? And the nice thing about this is this process, this sourcing works for anything you want. So if we say, well, that's real estate agents, but I work with attorneys, list out your attorneys and do the same exact procedure with them. Or list out, well, I have like 20 different types of places that I'm hoping. Remember, Steve, you told me, boom, 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 be a spider. I need 20 anchor points. Well, 20 anchor points might be too many. So which ones should you concentrate on today? List out all your anchor points, my realtors, my affinity groups, my social media. I have a leads group that is sitting there. My company actually hands out leads. So we're going to do that. How much do they do? And then we go and we hit it out there. Yeah, you have a bankruptcy attorney, and oh my God, these people are so difficult to work with, and he only hands you one a year. Well, we probably shouldn't learn how to get those people out of bankruptcy because we're not going to get all that much benefit out of it anyway. But man, I'm seeing a ton of people. This Facebook, I work with these people. They're so good. They're so hungry. They're so eager. How do I help people, a real estate agent, grow their business on Facebook so I can sit there and grow with them? See what we just did? You just hit the same format. Check it out. You lay that out. Is it a P, a G, I, a G, or an S? It works with what else? It works with Pepper. Do you remember Pepper? Pepper's about the product. What's the product name? What are the elements? What are the potential pitfalls for that? And what person is it best designed for? In what environment does it work best? And what are the resources? That's what we talked about last week. And I'm going to show you Pepper, 2 weeks ago. And I'm going to show you the Pepper and where to find that information again if you weren't here with us 2 weeks ago. But all you got to do, and I recommend you do this every 6 months. Every 6 months, say, okay, what percentage of my business was purchased? What percentage of my business was refi? First time home buyers, second homes. How about FICO score? Did I do above 700 FICO score? Am I doing below 700 FICO? How much FHA did I do? How much conventional, affordable housing? Did I do any short sales? How about investment properties, ARMs? And you can continue that list to see what products you're using. Then sort out your products. Man, those credit challenge customers, I did one of them and that was the hardest loan I've ever done my entire life. How do I not do that anymore? Man, did you realize that there's more senior buyers out there today because the average repeat buyer is 55 years of age? But they're a little bit more difficult to work with because they don't get the technology and they're trying to be able to do this. So how can I improve this process for those senior home buyers so that I'll be able to capture them? Those first-time home buyers, they're great to work with. They get all the technology, but I got to figure out how to grow those first-time buyers to find out where they are to meet up at the apartment complex and work with a real estate agent that's trying to do that. Boom, 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 boom. So we lay that out, including with product. And we are able to do that. And then we lay that out there with the protect, improve, grow, and strategize. So that's the new chapters that we just did it in about 40 minutes. I told you this one would be a little bit quicker. But let me recap where we have been in the past for those of you that have not been here, and then we'll open it up for questions because I don't see anybody's asked a question yet. Here's your must-know websites that we talked about last time. They're sitting right there in front of you. We're going to email them out to you again. Here are some other websites that are there. We include Elliot Eisenberg's blog, econ70.com, Rob Chrisman's blog, robchrisman.com. We look at Home Facts to find our local information. These are all great sources and resources for you to build your web. This is your content that goes in there. And MLS Consumer Access, what they're seeing about you. We talked before about the difference between loan amount and rate. You can also raise your loan amount just a little bit just to get approved. You raise your offer just a little bit to get approved for the loan and doesn't change that much on your monthly payment, or we can negotiate actual rate. We talked about when someone says, what's your rate? Saying, well, let's talk about payment, not rate. We talked about how we can get whatever rate we want based upon how much money they're willing to put down and based upon how many points they're willing to pay. We talked about it's not really what my rate is, it's what the customer's rate is, and I can't tell them what their rate's going to be till I know what their FICO score is, till I know how much the contract's worth, till I know how much the house is worth, till I know how much they're going to put down, till I know if they're able to prove all their income. And then we talk about the S2P, say it twice and pivot. S2P, say it twice and pivot. Yes, yes, I know rate is important to you and our rate is competitive, but first, before you do that, you got to get approved. And I have a 98% of all customers that see me get approved. So let's get you approved for this loan. So that's what we talked about last week. And before that, we talked about going into a course catalog at enactmi.com. And when we look at that training in that course catalog, there's some wonderful places to find new to industry where you can get a whole list of acronyms and a glossary of terms used in the mortgage industry. We have the scavenger hunt tools to be able to go out there and find more about our own company so we can leverage that. We understand that they're here to get a loan, but we're going to leverage that loan. We're going to make it so good that that transaction is going to be so good that they want the relationship by showing them how we are different. And we go back to that term on measurable, talkable, and feelable. Feelable is the same thing as relevant and rewarding in our SMART goals that we just talked about today. And then we say, do you have any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns about anything we talked about today, anything we didn't talk about today, or anything you wished we had talked about today? Max, you say here, because I'm reading your question, it says, and I see you want to take a bonus. You're in New LA. Thanks for all this stuff. What are the proper ways to express gratitude to those who refer clients to you? Well, my answer to you is talk to your company about that, because there's this thing called RESPA, which we could have significant repercussions if we do that wrong. But usually, if it happens after the referral, you're okay. If it happens before the referral and it's used as incentive or to incite the referral, then we have a problem. So we always want to do it after the referral is made. But there are so many ways to express that gratitude. It's really about being personal. So you know what makes those other people tick. It might be something as much if it's a family person. I tell you what, my mother would do whatever. She'd help me any way she can. If I would FaceTime her once a week, she'd be thrilled, right? I mean, so I would be able to do that. The neighbors, I mean, who knows? Maybe you have a kid, you say, oh, my kid's taking out your trash. You don't even have to, it's not based on that. That's just how neighborly and nice we are. Yeah, I have seen people, they say that they've given movie tickets to people based upon for referrals after that referral has happened. Also, you need to do it even if you close the loan or don't close the loan, because then they can't say, oh, it's attributable just to getting that loan closed. I know people have taken people out to meals, movie tickets. I know people, they host parties and they invite everybody to the party and say, therefore they're doing that. So there's other ways to be able to do that. I've seen people that they've come in and given steak knives and thank you gifts and thank you baskets and edible arrangements. So there's all kinds of things that you can do there. Any other questions, thoughts, comments, concerns? After the deal? Yes, absolutely. Anyone else? Well, I'm not seeing, so hopefully you're still getting something out of these sessions. We're getting more and more people every week, which is very exciting to me. Linda's now here. Hello, Linda. Always wonderful to see you, my friend.
Thank you very much. And I got on a little late. I probably missed the time management section because I had a customer that ran a little late, but great tips as usual. And as you said, we're gaining more and more people, and it's just a great resource here, Steve. I can't thank you enough. And looking forward to the final series to wrap this off. But wow, it's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think with that, Linda's saying thank you to everybody else who's on the call.
Yes.
Have a great day, everybody.
All right.
Take
Thank
care.
you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.